Let me welcome to the show. She is an amazing actress, an amazing humanitarian, a wonderful wife and mother. She's doing it all. And so I was like, I get to talk to her. I've seen you in the hallways. And I'm like, why isn't Sheryl Lee Ralph on my show? Well, she's here today. Let me welcome the original diva. Before there was Beyonce, there was Sheryl Lee Ralph, the original dream girl, the one and only Sheryl Lee Ralph. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Girlfriend, I need you to introduce me all the time. Thank you for that.
Well deserved. Let me tell you, I've been following your career, you know, and I know a little bit about you off mic.
A little bit.
A little bit. Your last season in Ray Donovan, let me just say, I was like, Sheryl Lee Ralph with her Benjamin Button's ass out there looking like she looked 30 years. I'm like, what are you drinking? Please tell us. What is the secret?
Let me tell you, I drink from the fountain of the divinely inspired, victoriously alive. So that would be the Diva Fountain of Youth. You know, I like to keep it clean. I like to keep it correct. I like to keep the vibes flowing in the most positive way. I mind my own business and not anybody else's. I like to take care of the logs in my own eye instead of trying to look at what's in somebody else's eye. And I want to do what? Keep my own yard nice and clean so folks can look over there and say, oh, that's a nice yard. And I'm like, why, yes, it is. Thank you. So that's how I do it. And I like to keep that nice balance in my life. So that's all, same old. How you met me is how I am right now.
That's the truth. You have not changed as a person, and it shows in the people that love you and the people that you love. You have a great foundation of support and some amazing people around you. All right, so you're in this new thing called Motherland. Motherland, it's a witch. It's a show about witches. The Fort Salem.
It's all about what happens when the witches in Salem make a deal with those pilgrim people and they say, look, stop killing us. We will use our powers to protect the United States of America and its people forever and ever and ever. They strike that deal. They use the power of their voice, their female voice, and it changes everything. In fact, on the show, I play the 45th president of the United States, which for some of us is a relief because that means none of this orange mess ever happened. What you get is a black female president and nothing is the same, baby.
Okay, I scrolled past it. I'm going to have to go lean all the way in because I'm not doing anything but watching all kinds of TV during this time. So this sounds like it's going to make my list.
The black girl magic in this show is real. There are some actresses in this show that are really just bringing it on every level. And I love the fact that writer, producer, creator, Elliot Lawrence, who I met when I was doing Claws, he created Claws. And he called me and said, I'm working on this new show, and I know that you can bring the power of the first female president. And I was like, well, all righty. Thank you very much. Yes, I can. When do I report to work?
I forgot you were in Claws. You played the mother of the character that betrayed Niecy Nash's character, and you were hell on wheels. You were awful and awful,
Madame
delicious.
Rouval.
Yes,
I was the Haitian mother to the doctor, and I could not get them to get things straight. But I believe in my heart that I was a witch then. Yes, or as we would say, I'm be a woman.
I love it.
Thank you.
It. Listen, I am a huge fan, but I'm also a big TV geek, right? And so I can't help but ask your perspective on how television is really changing in the last 10, 15 years with more black folks, particularly black women, having the power to green light, and more black folks, particularly black women, at the top of the call sheet and in TV and in Hollywood. How do you see that shift, and how should we be thinking about that shift? Do you feel it as an actress?
Thankful. I am so happy for this shift. Karen, remember when I wrote my book, Redefining Diva, there were so many chapters in that book about what the panacea of TV would be like if black women, if women's voices could be heard in this industry. So when I look at people like Lena Waithe, when I look at Viola Davis, what she's doing with her company.
Yes.
When I look at Octavia Spencer in Self-Made, and that's just a few. I just heard that Deborah Martin Chase, who's been at the game for quite some time,
Wow.
her series has just been picked up and is going straight to series. When I see that happen, and the fact that I have been a Screen Actors Guild card holder since I was 19 years old, and it was like 10 years from one gig to the next gig when it came to Hollywood, all I can say is, thank you, God, or great goddess in the sky, because you know what you're doing. And to answer your question, it can only get better. It can only get better when more of our voices are heard to level out the playing field. It has always been obvious nobody was going to level it for us. So thank God some young women have come up, built those relationships, and now they got the equipment to level it their damn selves. And it's happening, and I'm very thankful, very thankful.
And to piggyback on
there
that,
a
is
role
there?
that you
I was just going to ask that, Drew. Go ahead, ask the question. Go ahead.
I was like, is there a role that you haven't played, or the one that came around that you really wanted that one?
Oh, God. In my career, there have been so many roles that came around that I really, really wanted. I really, really wanted the Tina Turner story. It was the two women that screen tested. It was myself and Angela Bassett. Now, Angela got it because that's the way it was supposed to. But the dress that I wore for my screen test, they copied it, put it in yellow, and put it on her. So even in a small way, I'm up there on that screen. So I believe when they shine, I shine. So
Yep.
I have to always believe you're going to get what is for you. And right now, right before this COVID, baby, I was in my lane in this ABC pilot called Harlem's Kitchen, written by Zaire McGee, myself, and the most Delroy Lindo. And what an incredible cast. And we were about ready to fry some pans and bring the heat of a scandal, the heat of a How to Get Away with Murder, the longevity of a Grey's Anatomy to that ABC screen. And I'm telling you, if the great goddess is working her magic around me, I'm like ready, because that's my role right there. And I was the last person they saw for it. The last person. I told my representatives, you have got to get me in on this. I went in, I was loaded for bear. I slayed, I got it, and I'm like, just as we're about ready to roll, COVID-19. I was like, well, damn. But
Tell
that's
us
all right, because the great
tell us
goddess
about
is
the
working.
character.
Yeah.
What was this character? Who was she?
The character is Cece. She's the matriarch of a family. The husband, Delroy Lindo, dies quickly of a heart attack, but he doesn't leave the series. His spirit is always there. And we find out that how picture perfect we thought we were, we are not. And the covers have been pulled off, and we've got to deal with every little fire that is underneath the quilt. And it just shows the strength of a mother. And when the side chick tries to cry, we ain't having that. Right. Ooh, I love that scene right there. Oh, it brings parts out in me that I haven't been able to play. And I'm like, yes, I loved it. Jump over that pew and strangle that woman. Yes.
Okay. All right. Diva. All right. So this pandemic has changed a lot of lives. And I was asking you're also the first lady in Pennsylvania. Your husband is a state senator. Shout out to him. So how are you balancing that, the real political stuff that's going on in your state?
You know, it's real political stuff. And last night, for me, every night I go on, and, I read from my book every night on Instagram.
Do you?
It has the most amazing following. I'm like, wow, okay, thank you. But last night I heard something come out of my husband's phone, and I was like, Senator Hughes, what is going on here? There are people losing their minds. They will call people up on their cell phone and tell them, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Because we're coming for you. We want to go back to work. How dare you shut down our state? I was like, I know they're not talking hate speech on your phone like that. Is that what I'm hearing? I'm like, oh my God, it has gotten some kind of crazy. This is what I wish there were some real witches to shut this down, because this is some madness right here. And people just don't understand that if we come out of this too soon, it will be every bad disaster movie we have ever seen in the past. You talk about Elysium. Oh, we're headed right there. Have you ever seen that movie, Elysium? Elysium is very interesting. We've ruined the earth. We've kept the poor people very poor, so that there's a mass of poor people. The only place for them is on the earth. And if you're wealthy, you live up in the sky in some sort of a great spaceship. And then the computers handle what's going down on Earth with the computers and the, I don't know what you call those kind of human bots.
Droids.
But
yeah, the androids, the droids.
The androids. But
right.
That's where we're headed. And
is that the one with Jodie Foster? Is Jodie Foster in that?
Jodie Foster is in it.
Yeah, I did see that. Yes, that was good.
That's right. And then look at some of those moments that we saw in The Handmaid's Tale, where if your child had that fever, oh, how did you deal with that fever? Oh, were you so busy that you couldn't leave home and take care of your child? So they ended up taking everybody's children away because they could better take care of them. Oh, there's a whole bunch of mess out there that has been written up on the screen, and that's just where we're headed. And it's scary because we just don't realize how bad it can get, especially when they're tracking and running down good young men who just happen to be black and using them for target practice. And it ain't just white people shooting down young black people. Trust me, young black people, men and women, are targets everywhere you turn. And it's some scary mess. I've got a kid that's already been shot. I know what that feels like.
What? When did this
Girl,
happen?
Please. You didn't know that?
Etienne was shot?
Honey, 3 times by a father and son team. And the father was teaching his son how to be out there in these streets and use Etienne for target practice. Almost lost his leg. Oh, yeah, it was horrible. And I remember there sitting next to Trayvon Martin. I remember sitting next to his mother, and she looked at me and she held my hand. And she said, I just wish I still had my son. And I was like, oh, sweet Jesus. Because I all I can do is thank God because I still have my son. It took a while for him to heal from those wounds. He still carries those scars. But I'm like, wow, when people come after your children like this, that's some kind of hurt that is hard to get over. And I don't know how Ahmaud Arbery's family is doing, especially his mother. If it were me, I'd be acting up and pulling my hair out and running up and down the streets, acting like a crazy woman, trying to let everybody know they're coming for your kids.
Not crazy at all. I mean, this is our reality, but we're going to have to. Ooh, and you know, with your spirit, because you've always been involved and an activist, especially with HIV and AIDS. I'm just, you know, like, I don't know how we get through this period that we're in, and it's not just the pandemic. There's so many more things that we have to endure.
Let me tell you, I believe, and it's there in the books for us to read. If we look at this playbook that is happening right in front of us, it has happened many times before. There have been a lot of leaders in other countries, you know, dictators, emperors in their own head, and they always try to infect the bottom, those who are most vulnerable, you know, people living paycheck to paycheck. People coming to the country, whatever country it may be, looking for a better life, looking for the dream. They want to destabilize those people, then encourage the other people who have a little bit more that they can grasp and tell them that they are better. And what happens? They end up going around and rounding up people, putting them in cages. You know, when we see people in cages in America, it's like, my God, this has been done before. In America. Remember when they went around and they collected all those Japanese people? Oh, it's been done before. It wasn't right then. It's not right now. This whole idea about building a war building a wall on our border, but we have the nerve to want to go over to places like Germany and say, tear down that wall. Have we not seen all of this before? Yes, we have. But we don't want to do anything about it. That's why I'm fascinated by things like the Bible. The Bible is full of all these stories, thousands of years old. And what do? We read it, we hold it up, we dust it off, we act like it's, oh no, just leave the Bible right there. You better open that thing up and read it and learn something. Because if you're not going to open up your school books, if you're not going to learn your history, just open up your Bible, because it's real simple right in there. Right in there. It's all right there for you to read, because we're going down a messy path, and somebody's looking for a race war, because, race always wins in America. Yeah, just bring them down to that racial denominator. That'll get a rise out of the people. And I believe that orange man is really, really hoping to get a race war. Oh, yeah. And if it's not that, he wants to shut down the doggone post office, because he knows that's the way you're going to vote. And then it's like, oh, no, let them all go back out there, because, it's only them sick people, them poor people, them brown, them black, them old people, the ones that really like to vote, the ones that are really into voting, they're going to get sick and die off. It's all a plan. It's all right there in front of us. We don't want to see it, but that's all right. I'm president number 45 in Motherland, Fort Salem, Wednesdays, 9 o'clock on
What's it,
Freeform.
CW? Freeform.
Freeform, girl, Freeform, ABC, Disney.
Yes. Disney.
There's,
you better do that.
When you talk about exactly that, we're talking about COVID. It reminds me of during the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, where government officials were talking about all the right people are dying, right? That all of the right folks are dying, and I want to say, I want to first of all say thank you for the incredible work that you have done historically and still continue to do today around HIV/AIDS, because what I think is being forgotten in our community is that HIV/AIDS is still a clear and present danger for Black folks in this country and Black folks throughout the diaspora, but incredibly here in this country. And as a Black gay male, I have seen how my white counterparts have moved on from the disease, right? The big advocacy groups, they've moved on to, to talking about, we want to have, marriage rights, but we're moving on to making sure that we can leave our property to our children, right? Whereas Black folks, and now Black men, Black women, are still struggling with HIV/AIDS in a way that would surprise the average American if they actually looked at our numbers. And I say that just to ask you, I know that you're still in the fight and you continue to be in the fight. What's been the disconnect that you feel or you see about, education around HIV/AIDS? Why do you think our numbers are still going up in our community, where that's not the case in so many of the other ethnic communities in this country?
And, this is just Sheryl. This is just my thinking. I've always said from day one, the disease for us is about self-esteem. How much do I value myself to take care of myself? How much do I value myself not to play Russian roulette with my life? Let's talk about where we are right now with this whole corona COVID-19. How many of us are taking the mask seriously? How many of us are taking the washing of hands seriously? How many of us are taking hand sanitizer, all of that seriously? Self-distancing, physical distancing. How many of us are taking it seriously? If you look at our history, we have always felt that we were not going to survive. It has always been hard for us to survive. And every time the playbook is written, set up, who always seems to get the short end of the stick? remember, we're the people who were given the leftover of the pig. And we were so brilliant, we had to take the entrails, the nasty, dirty entrails of a pig, and turn it into a delicacy chitlins for us. So everything that comes around, it's hard for us to have to deal with one more thing. It's hard for a black man to have to deal with being black. Now you're going to add gay on top of it. Now you're going to add HIV on top of it. It's hard enough for him to just be black and sane in America.
Yeah.
And don't take it for granted. That's a real fight. That's a real struggle. Because you got a whole lot of white folks over here. They see a black man coming, they're afraid. You got a whole lot of black folks on the other side. They see a black gay man coming. They feel, oh, my God, now we got to deal with that. Then you got a black gay man or woman, and you got HIV on it, and we're sick. Then we always feel like they're experimenting on us because they did experiment on us. Right. Remember those Tuskegee medical trials with syphilis and gonorrhea? And they injected people, and then folks were made to suffer? Yeah. If you learn your history, it's a hard one. And you know what kind of guts and strength it takes to carry on? We should be having weekend classes for all of our children, teaching all of our children, mandatory. This is who you are. This is where you come from. This is where we are going together. Because, you see, if we don't take the time with young people real soon, they will forget who they are. They will forget the majesty that they really did come from. When you talk about kings and queens and where we came, that's real. The artists that we were before, that's real. But it's been erased. More and more it's being erased till they only see the bad side, and the bad side ain't really worth fighting for. That's what they're starting to believe. So we have to empower young people, educate young people, and that's hard because nobody gives a real doo-doo about education. You put education and health out there for people to vote about, ain't nobody showing up. People don't really care. So we have got a very hard way to go because let me tell you something. There are other people out there, they can hide who they are. A lot of Hispanic people, they hide. They want to turn white. Cubans want to tell you, well, we're white. Well, in Jamaica, we know that Cubans are black. There are white ones too, but we see the black ones. Why? Because they got left behind. Brazil, look at the map. Look at who's suffering from COVID. That big, bright red spot you see there in Brazil, that's where the black folks are. So we're having a very hard time. Anita, cuando usted habla español, usted está invisible. We got a rough road to hoe, and we've been so separated, it's hard to bring us back together again. It is hard to bring us back together again. That's why your show is so important. That's why your show is here to offer people another way for them to listen, to hear, to start thinking, who am I in this fight? Because if we don't realize who we really are, it ain't going to happen. And look how it is. Let's talk about TV. Look how they're watering down the black man. We can talk about the strength of the black woman. But what about the black man on TV? Less and less and less. He's becoming invisible. And the black woman may be rising up, but she's becoming beiger and beiger and beiger. Look at TV. There's some scary mess out there to be black and in this country and know you got to fight for who you are because you love yourself. A whole lot of folks around us, they are not loving on themselves. Somebody asked me one day, they said, why are you so happy to be nappy? I was like, well, goddamn. Really? Has it come to that? What? What you want me to do for you? You think, what? I should perm it? I should straight it? You'll be happier then? No, this is who I am. And I celebrate me. I love me just the way I am. And this COVID's got to get over soon, girl, because I'm losing my color, baby. I got to get out of that sun. I need my
we
color
need some
back.
sun.
I'm starting to fade. I was like, oh, Lord have mercy, what's happening?
Need your chocolate skin. Sheryl Lee Ralph,
I need my chocolate skin.
That's right. Redefining Diva, Life Lessons from the Original Dream Girl. She's reading from her book on Instagram. There you go. I know that book.
Yes,
Look
you
at her.
do.
Look at her. Yeah, full disclosure. So you're reading from this every night on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay.
I
so
read from it every night on Instagram because somebody said, please, just talk to us. And I was like, what? They were like, just talk to us. And so I would go on around midnight on Instagram, and I started talking, and then somebody brought up the book. And I was like, okay, you want me to read from the book? And that's literally how it happened. And I started reading from the book, and I would, I interject now my own extra stories about the book. And people are like, wow, we had no idea. And I was just like, well, here you go. And they just seem to really, really love it. And it's like
you
having
wrote this
a wonderful
yourself
reader.
for everybody out there. Sheryl Lee Ralph can write. She wrote this herself.
Thank
A
you.
lot of people have ghostwriters. She did not need a ghostwriter. She wrote this book herself. And in this book, and as I'm listening to you right now, I think about all of the jobs you didn't get because of how you show up in the world, unapologetically. And even though the world is a little bit different now, when Drew asked you about the roles you didn't get, some of it, Hollywood's scared of you. They were scared of you because you show up like this. How much easier is it now for you to speak the way you speak, talk the way you talk, or did something shift in your universe to crack open this agency that you have?
I really, you know what, Karen? I haven't the slightest idea. I believe that maybe I'm in show business to have a platform to be who I am, to speak how I speak. I can't squeeze myself or shape myself to be what anybody else wants me to be. I can only be what I am. If I do that, I won't be right. I have to be able to speak my truths to power. I have to make sure that I speak in a way that can be understood, especially to my children, so that when I'm gone, I know that at least two people and maybe a niece or nephew will carry on for me, but I don't know if anything's changed. I mean, I went through a part of my life where nothing was happening. Nothing was going on. I literally thought that I was going to marry the senator and maybe move to Philadelphia and be a politician's wife. I thought that's what was going to happen. And then things just took a shift. And I think it was Smash with Jennifer Hudson. I did that. And then things just started changing. And, representation and trying to get representation in this industry is a bitch. Because, you got to do this, or you got to do that, or you got to look like this, or you got to look like that. And this team, who wants you? Will the whole team fight for you? And very often when we're not on the team, we don't see the power of the person that is in front of them. It's like sometimes I think to myself, I should be doing more. I should be doing maybe something a little different. But then I have to say, all things in the great goddess time. We always say, what? Thy will be done. You have to believe thy will be done. You can't go out there trying to fix it, force it, push it, this and that. No. Be in your own vortex and let God do the God thing, and you do your thing. Come prepared, come ready, come ready to show out when opportunity presents itself to you. Be ready. I always say it, and I've said it. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready. So
Karen mentioned the fact that you wrote your own book, and there was in all of like some of the Dream Girls like retrospectives and stories and things like that. There's this running theme that the cast did as much sort of writing and massaging of the original script for Dreamgirls as the writers did. And can you just talk a little bit about that? Is that true, or is that just Broadway mythology?
That's very true. Dreamgirls was built and came to life out of improvisation. Loretta Devine and I were the two originals. We were the only two originals with it from very beginning to Broadway. Jennifer came afterwards. There were many different iterations of the show through workshop, but we worked it. We created those characters. We brought them to life, but we were young, and we sold our rights for $1. We get nothing. When the film came out, we got nothing. When it's out there, we get nothing. Now, Chorus Line, they had the same contract, the same deal. But the Chorus Line cast, they took out a class action suit because they valued themselves and the work they put into the creation of a Chorus Line. They got their money.
Wow.
Dreamgirls, we got bupkis. And in Yiddish, well, look it up. But that's what we got.
We were just talking about that in reference to Little Richard and how he got a half a penny for Tutti Frutti and a half a penny, $25,000, and that's it for a song that's been redone, sampled, sold 500,000 copies that year. And that seems to be a running narrative, you know. And now you're saying this. It's just, if nothing rings through for people listening, the valuation of yourself, to know that you were wondrously made. You talk about that often, to know that you're here for a purpose, to know that you have value, and therefore no one should ever take advantage of that, not in the bedroom or in the boardroom.
Nowhere. And if it's show business, get yourself a lawyer. I mean, even if you got to hire someone by the hour, get yourself a lawyer. Make sure they read the contract. And like I say in my book, know your bottom line. Know what you will do and what you won't do. Hey, but, you know, like I wrote in the book, would I do it again? Hell yeah, I'd do it again. I'm always a dream girl.
Yes, you are.
I'm always a dream girl.
Yes, you
and
are.
There's a line in the show that's dedicated to the spirit of folks like Little Richard. And James Thunder Early sings that, and he says, I was here before you, and I'll be here long after you're gone. It's showbiz, just a showbiz. Oh, yeah, that rings true, even today.
Sheryl Lee Ralph. Yo, Sheryl Lee Ralph. Motherland, catch that on Freeform, Wednesdays at
Tomorrow
9
night, baby.
9
o'clock.
p.m. Eastern. And the Diva Foundation, how are you going to be doing that this year?
You know what? Because in California, you know, they've canceled across the country, really, all of those large, close events. We will be doing a virtual event, and we're going to have people, you know, registering up on Zoom. We're going to have some incredible talents, and I'm just excited to this year. We celebrate our 30th year, making us the longest consecutive running musical AIDS benefit in the country. Now, you asked me something earlier about HIV and AIDS. I really wanted to tell you back then what set the white gays apart from where we are. Follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. HIV, AIDS, and the way the white gay population organized and strategized because they were sick and tired of being marginalized. That 40-year struggle, which is a real fast uptick, you know, in change, because real change just kind of happens at 50 years. But in 40 years, they created a viable presidential candidate in Pete Buttigieg. AIDS did that. Organization did that. Strategy did that. Money did that. But guess what? We are the longest consecutive running musical aid benefit in the country. You think we got Elton John money? You think we got Sharon Stone speaking up from our point of view, helping us? No. Follow the money. Until we start valuing ourselves and putting money up with ourselves together, ain't nothing going to change. We sitting up there waiting for them to send help. Help's not coming. The help you need is right at the end of your own arm. Help? Did it come to Katrina? Huh? No. It ain't coming. We've got to be the people that we're waiting for, and we got to do it for us. And I don't care if any other black person out there is telling you don't be a part of the vote. That's an asshole's position. You better get out there and vote like your life depends upon it, because it does. There's no transactional vote happening right now. It's too late. It's May, coming up to June. November is around the corner. If you're a Democrat, that's the way you got to vote. That's what you got to do, because we cannot take any more of this Cheeto business. This orange dust is killing us. And that man has been a nasty man for a long time. He's so nasty, he doesn't mind telling everybody how nasty he is. This is a man who came into the election saying, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. They'd still vote for me. And they did. This man molested, rubbed up against all of these women. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. But we got to fire him. We've got to fire that man, or we will have to roll with the consequences. I wish I could show you my mask. I got my mask. It says, vote. Vote. You go to my Instagram, just look right down at the link. Go get yourself the vote mask, because that's the business we need to be about right now.
Amen. I have to just say alleged. That's it. I just wanted to throw that out there for legal purposes. Sheryl Lee Ralph, I love you. Go to her website, because she's absolutely right. SherylLeeRalph.com. Donate to the Diva Foundation. Donate to the Diva Foundation. Donate to the Diva Foundation. And apparently she's up at all hours of the night reading books. So go follow her on Instagram as well. And go get the book. How about that? Go get the book. It is called Redefining Diva, Life Lessons from the Original Dream Girl. You can come back every day. Sheryl Lee Ralph. You got to open see. Lord Jesus.
Please come back on the days I'm here.
Oh, my God. That was the best interview. I think you're going down in history as the best interview we've had. All right. I love you. I love you. We have to stay in better touch. I appreciate you being here today. Oh, my God. I need to check out so I can process what just happened. Sheryl Lee Ralph, y'all.